Well, hello and welcome to another Rider's Ramblings. I'm taking a bit of a gamble today because we're supposed to be having sunshine and showers, and I'm going to gamble, rightly or wrongly, that we won't get the showers. We will see. We will see. It's looking a bit black over there. Today, I have a new seat on my motorcycle. It's a top celery deluxe comfort gel seat. And this is the first time I've sat on it. It's feels a little bit hard, but I know that from my FJR, which also has the top celery seat, that it moulds to yourself, so moulds to your shape. Wonder what Charlie's doing. Not a lot. So today we're going somewhere different. I put in this humped part of the road about a month ago, 6 weeks ago, and yes, it slows people down, but we've seen some idiots take off over the top of that, so this is a priority ardouat, and you do have to be a bit careful. It's exceptionally windy today, so I might have some fun and games. I wasn't looking at those traffic lights. My fault. Oh, it is windy as well. So previously I was able to flat foot both feet. Now I can't flat foot both feet. I can flat foot one, or I can get the balls of my feet down. I suppose I could soften the suspension a notch or two. It is very windy, actually. We might have an interesting run today. A very interesting run. We'll have to see. Cyclists dismount is what the sign says, if you're wondering. Not too sure what they're doing here, but they've been doing it for about a month or so. They've got the barriers up, but nothing much is happening. So people aren't quite as polite in France when it comes to crossings and so on as they are in the UK. Interestingly, at that point there, I've got Michelin's PR5s on this bike, and the bike handles beautifully at that point there, no problem whatsoever. But the FJR has Bridgestones on, and it squirms about like you would not believe. And definitely makes for an interesting ride. That sun's right in my face. I don't know if it's flaring on the lens. It could well be. But it's a bit bright. somebody not filtering for one reason or another. Maybe a fairly new rider. We're at the Intercommunal Hospital. Here we go. This seat grows on you. It definitely grows on you. It's becoming more and more comfortable as I sit on it. So, I know I've got quite a long way to go to test it out. And I'll need to fill up with fuel on the way back this evening, I think. We're down to about a quarter, so we have about 55 kilometers to go. So we'll use about 2.5 litres of fuel, which will probably bring us down to close to the red line. We'll see. We'll see. We're getting close to rush hour, so it's going to be a bit interesting, although in theory the traffic, or a lot of the traffic, is going the other way. And so, as you can see from the other side of the road, it's quite busy, whereas at the moment it's relatively empty here. So, we will see what it's like, because once we get onto the Caravan Cease, especially around the A6 area, which is windy, even though it doesn't seem to be very windy here, I can feel gusts on the bike. So it is quite windy indeed. The other side of the road is a very popular spot for wedding photographs and so on. I don't know if they actually do weddings. I'm just going to change lanes for a moment. Because, as you can see, people are turning off to the right. I don't know if I'm going to be lucky looking at those clouds ahead. It looks a bit thick. We will see. Because we're going towards those clouds eventually. Lights are about to change. So we'll be coming back this evening during the rush hour, which could be a bit interesting. Coming up to a red light camera, not for the first set of lights, but for the second set of pedestrian crossing lights. Don't know why we got two sets, but there's obviously a good reason for two sets of pedestrian crossing lights. I would have thought only one was necessary. But we are not the reason why. Was that Rudyard Kipling? Can't remember. It's a long time since I was at school. So we've got another raised area coming up, so I'll just slow it down a bit. Madam in the Fiat is going to have an interesting time. Ooh. It's better. Sorry, I'm seeing the physiotherapist because I've got tendonitis in my left arm, and I suppose I shouldn't really be riding the bike, and I shouldn't really be changing down here because a number of people do spill fuel on that corner, which is one of the reasons I was taking it a bit easier, because it is an interesting area. This is another one where we get fuel spills and oil. I can see oil drops on the right hand side. Oh, and the traffic is already building up, travelling east. We'll hit it probably in about 7 or 8 kilometres time. We'll get to the traffic. Oh, maybe even sooner. So we will now see lane splitting in action. Well done, Mr. Taxi. You decide which lane you want to be in, and if you indicate, then things are okay. So slow it down. We've got Renault doing silly things, VW and an Opel, two German cars wanting to clash, which is probably not a good idea. Just give 91 a quick thought that thank you. I'll say thank you to the lorry for pulling over. He has to come out of this lane soon. This is going to be a bit tight. Thank you, Mr. Lorry. Do le leg to him. And 78 pulling over. It is breezy here, actually. It is quite breezy indeed. I'm being blown about in this, so I shall keep the speed down a bit. Although probably the faster I go, the more stable the bike. I still think it might be a good idea to keep the speed down because it is quite windy indeed. As I said on Monday's video, people are usually very good about pulling over and letting the bikes through in France. Excuse me. This is because a lot of people in France actually start off on 50cc motorcycles and scooters. Excuse me. I do apologise. Because if I remember rightly, you're allowed to ride one at the age of 14. So I'll be on and off depending on how busy I get with this filtering and lane splitting. But what I'm actually doing is legal. Whether it's sensible or not is a different matter. And what you have to do is pay a lot of attention and concentrate a lot. So if I suddenly go quiet, it's because something has caught my attention. I must admit, talking and lane splitting I'm doing this at a lower speed than I normally would do. So we're at about 40 kilometers an hour at the moment, and normally I would be at about 50. And some very nice vehicles there, so I'll say thank you. You might be able to see from the video that my hands are over the horn and the passing light, and when I see something I'm flashing the passing light, and my other hand is covering the brake. What you can't see is my foot is also covering the brake as well, and that will give me, hopefully, half a second to a second of extra braking, which may well be the difference between hitting somebody and not hitting somebody. This is a standard method of riding in Paris. If you watch all the people lane splitting, all the motos, the scooters and the motorbikes, we refer to them as motos. I think I said that earlier. You'll see that they do something very similar. And 93 from the north of Paris, or the northeast of Paris. It's probably not the most salubrious area of Paris. In fact, I would recommend that you don't visit parts of 93. Quatre-vingt-treize, as they say. It's, the Basilique Saint-Denis is actually in Department 93, in the town of Saint-Denis, and if you go, I recommend you go by metro, and I think there must have been an accident, to tell you the truth. It's not looking good. This is the reason why I ride a motorcycle in France. So some people are generous and some people are not. And 38 is from outside of Ile-de-France, and I'm not sure he knows what he's doing. Quite a lot of German cars, so it must be half term. My nose is itching. Why did something happen? Okay. So lots of time. I'm about 10 to 15 minutes from my destination. Probably about 15 minutes with this traffic. And I don't have to be anywhere until 6 o'clock is my next appointment. So this seat, coming back to having now sat on it for probably 20 minutes or so, it is very comfortable, it really is. Not just a bit comfortable, but very comfortable indeed. It does feel hard when you first sit on it, and then it sort of flattens a bit as it forms to your shape. And oh, I was going to tell you about actually fitting it onto the motorcycle. If you have a look at the unboxing and fitting video, you'll notice that I didn't actually get it seated properly. I got it onto the... Oh, it's been raining quite hard here. I got it on in the right place, but it wouldn't lock down. And so I put some dabs of various different things to see what was catching, what wasn't catching. British car in the wrong place. Just giving him a nice gentle reminder that he needs to be a little bit further over. Anyhow, the seat wasn't locking down, and so I spent some time looking at why this was, and there is a little nut which holds the locking mechanism, not on the seat base itself, the seat pan itself, but the locking mechanism on the bike. And that was catching on it because the gel at the front of the seat has made the seat just that little bit longer. And so consequently, it wouldn't seat properly, if you understand what I mean. I wonder what 75 is trying to do. 75 being a centre of Paris department number. We'll see the motorbike in front probably go off at quite some speed. That was a bit close. So, and anyhow, the seat wasn't seating properly because the nut actually that holds the locking mechanism underneath the seat was catching, and there's a little hole that it's supposed to fit in, and because the gel has made it a little bit longer, and I imagine that with use and with heat that the gel will squash up or whatever, and it'll become easier. But what I did was I got the Dremel and I took about 1 centimetre off the back edge of the hole, and although that isn't actually enough to make it sit easily, it did allow me to put the seat on and then pull it forward hard and push down at the same time, which got us the seat to lock down. So I'm just wondering whether A, because it was cold and the gel was therefore a bit hard, and so on, but once I'd taken about 1 millimetre off the back end of the hole, and it only needed about 1 millimetre, I used some liquid to check exactly where everything was fouling, and that was that, and it's seated properly, so oh, they've closed the tunnels at Anthony. No wonder there's a mess. This is going to be unbelievable. We could be late. So there's probably been an accident in the tunnels. Either that, or they've decided that this would be a good time. But there's a multitude of traffic lights down here, so everybody is going to be stuck. Say thank you. I wasn't actually looking at the overhead gantry signs to see what the problem was. Oh, this is even better. So we could be quite late. Yes, this is going to be an interesting experience. Closing the tunnels at rush hour is not something which is a good idea. Definitely not a good idea. Why? Come on, Talisman, decide where you're going to go. Everybody wants to go everywhere. This is just going to be a mess all the way down. So we could be quite late, actually. This is going to be definitely a big mess. Bendy buses. I know Boris decided to remove them from London. I don't know if he did, but they've decided that they're a good idea. But if you look inside this bendy bus, as I am, there's nobody in it. Absolutely empty. Well, I didn't see anybody. I mean, there could well have been, but I didn't see anybody. We're in Department 92. Thank you. And one of the things I've noticed about Department 92, most of the drivers are the most inconsiderate drivers in France. They really are very inconsiderate. You have sort of different types of driving from different departments, but 92 really are inconsiderate. You know, they don't think of anybody at all apart from themselves, and they don't care about anybody either. and it's a bit sad. And just wake Charlie up. I can't quite get through here. Problem is the height of my mirrors. They're quite often just at the right height to clout somebody else's mirror. I think I might be very late because of this. I should have done what Mr. Scooterist did. Oh, we've got a nice hole in the road. Thank you, Mr. Van Man. So, I shall say thank you. And see what happens when we hit the hole in the road. This could be an interesting experience, taking off. So, let's see what happens. Come on, lights. Would be nice. I might swing slightly to the right. We will see. Depends on Mr. Scooterist. Use of hazards while filtering. It's a standard thing in Paris. The motos tend to run with their hazards on. So 74 has pulled over for me. My heated grips are starting to get a bit hot. So when we come down to these lights and I can adjust them, I shall turn them off. 94 being inconsiderate, which is fairly rare. Riding the motorcycle like a beginner with my feet down, which I shouldn't really be doing. Dear. Well, decide where you're going, Mr. Peugeot. It would be useful if I knew where you were going. It's the heated grips off. But this is going to be a bit tedious. It is. Got a new clutch in the bike. So bus, why are you in this lane when there's a bus lane over there? Or is that a cycle lane? It might be a cycle lane, I don't know. Not sure. But I can't go anywhere, mate. You're just in the right place to block me. Yeah, I can't get through. I had the water pump replaced on the motorcycle last week. That was relatively pricey. So see what happens down here. Just a lorry, not necessarily paying attention to those who are filtering. So I like the idea that some vehicles have, I think there must be some sort of accident. I've just seen blue lights going down on the tunnels. We will be joining the Caravanserais if it's open a bit further up. If we can. They've been building these apartments here for years, years and years and years and years. They have. It's a very long time. Indeed. A very long time. It could be that they're on phase 2 or phase 3 or phase 76 or something. The thing is that just like all major cities, there's a massive requirement for, oh dear, massive requirement for accommodation. So it's apartments everywhere. I think that would have been the better place to be, in that lane. Never mind. We're going straight across these lights when they go green. And then hopefully we can turn onto the Caravanserais. If not, we'll be going up through the towns, which is definitely not a good idea. I have no idea what people are doing here. But nobody is going anywhere, I don't think. It looks like it's blocked up on the Caravanserais. Nobody's going anywhere. So there's obviously been a big prang. And we'll be going up through the villages. Well, that's fairly senseless. One more major road junction to go through. Just down here, and then hopefully we can get onto the Caravanserais. We will see. I think I might have to fill up before I go back. Travelling slowly has used more fuel than I expected. There's an ambulance behind, but nobody's going anywhere. Nobody is going anywhere, Mr. Ambulance. As much as you might want to chivvy people along. Another Honda Deauville. With the standard lids. I've got the big lids. He's obviously clattered against somebody on the way through as he's adjusting his mirror. So, FM. So it's probably a bit older than mine. Looks like it's got new tip-over wings on it, so obviously somebody's pranged it. There used to be a raised part here. They've obviously moved it for the junction. So, yep, we're back on the Quatre-Vingt-Six, so there's obviously been a big prang somewhere in the tunnels. There's blue flashing lights there, so somewhere in there. So, not good. Not good at all. So, right, we're about, depending on what it's like in Belize, we're about 5 minutes away. So we'll have to see. Don't have any music playing today, so not sure what's happening. I thought I'd leave the music off. As to the seat, we've now been sat on it for about 40 minutes, and it really has become much more comfortable as the journey has gone on. It's moulding itself to my shape, which is very nice. And I noticed back at the traffic lights, because it's moulding itself to my shape, I'm actually getting my feet further down onto the ground. I'm not flat footing exactly, but it's not, it's more than the balls of my, it's somewhere between the balls of my feet and flat footing. So that's quite good. But looking at the mess on the traffic, this road is quite empty. So hopefully when we go home, it'll be okay. We will see. But 40 minutes, we've done about 40 minutes, which is about the battery, so I don't know how the battery is doing. Oh dear, they're not wearing their gilet jaunes. It's the law that if you break down in a vehicle, you must wear your yellow vest, your gilet jaune. So if a policeman gets there, it's 120 euros each. So not only do they have a broken down vehicle, which they will need to repair, but they're going to have to pay quite a lot of money if they're not careful. But I'd probably bet that the police are otherwise occupied with the problems in the tunnel. I'll be quite literally just on time. So instead of being about 15 to 20 minutes early, I'm going to be bang on 6 o'clock, which means that I won't be as prepared as I should be. I usually like to have 10 or 15 minutes to prepare before my appointment. But never mind. Never mind. Yes, this road is nice and empty. due to the closure of the tunnels. I hope the people are alright. I softened the suspension up, and I think it's just a tad too soft. I had a little bit of a squirrely moment just then. Which I don't normally get on that expansion joint. So I might just put it back the one click that I took it down. So I think if we hadn't have got stuck, we might have just missed the rain, but never mind. Oh, another magpie. Hello, Mr. Magpie. There's quite a lot of them around at the moment. I have a choice of directions to go in, but I'm hoping that because of the delays, this is going to be quieter. The suspension's much better for the bumps, but a bit squirrely when leaned over on an expansion joint. Now that's bad. They've only just resurfaced this road and there's that enormous puddle there. So not good at all. Whoever was doing the road resurfacing. KFC. Is there a KFC here? I didn't know there was a KFC here. Where's there a KFC? Must be new. There's McDonald's. Certainly a McDonald's, but KFC. Didn't know that there was a KFC in Villers-Dur. So that's going to be a new one on me. I do sometimes like a KFC, which is a bit bizarre. Everybody thinks I'm very strange. I do enjoy them. Right, we've got one more set of lights after this to go through. And depending on whether those are red or green will depend on whether I'm on time or whether I'm late. These are quite long lights, these. Here we go, we're about to change. University or college of something that we've just gone past, so quite often a lot of students coming out of there. Come on, 78, I know it's your department. But it's raining. And although this jacket is waterproof, it's the lining. There's a waterproof lining. The outer layer is only sort of a little bit waterproof, and it soon absorbs the water. And the problem is that once it does so, it weighs a ton, absolute ton. I suppose CG 458 ZF. Six o'clock on my clock, which means I've got 1 minute because the clock is 1 minute fast on the bike. But with green men, I'm going to pull into the car park. 1 minute. So thank you for watching. I hope you've enjoyed it. The seat is nice and comfortable, and I do recommend them. And we'll talk to you next time.